What's up, movie fans? Guys, this is Movie Fan Hater. This is my arch nemesis, the guy who... Why do I have the crown now? He's the guy who has been commenting on all of my videos endlessly for the past few months.
Thank you.
All because of one movie. One movie that I love that you do not love, and that is the Blair Witch Project.
So that's a bad movie.
So, in today's video, me and Movie Fan Hater are going to be discussing our differing opinions on the Blair Witch Project and why I am right. Oh wait, should I introduce the people that
in the background?
What are they doing right now?
They're just in the background watching.
Okay.
They're like the the me characters who like cheer when there's a good thing and boo when there's a bad thing.
Yeah, we actually have an audience watching us who are undoubtedly going to be fair and unbiased and cheer for everything that I say.
Yes,
We've got the face of Movie Fan Hater over here, the voice of Movie Fan Hater, and then we've got Zion. So to start off, I'm just going to ask a very simple question. Why do you hate the Blair Witch Project?
Oh. See, I've been thinking about this a while, because it's a bad movie.
Yeah! So that's not really an explanation, that's just a lie. Like, could you elaborate a little bit more?
So, I just have a question for you. Name one scary part in the movie.
Okay.
Name something, specifically something that you watch and you're like, wow, that was scary.
Yeah, not a jump scare.
Well, yeah, no, there aren't really jump scares in that movie. What I think is scary about it, like, to me, it's all psychological horror. Where, like, the scene, I feel like the scene in the movie that gets to me the most is the scene towards the end where the main character, Heather, is talking into the camera, kind of breaking down and crying. Like,
where all we see is snot.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. But that's what's scary to me about that movie. It's not like there's no like monsters there or anything like that. Like there is something trying to kill them, but it's unseen. I will get to the end of the movie and why I think she's wrong about
when she was like, "I'm sorry, I was such a bitch throughout this whole event. I'm sorry."
I feel like that is a dumb way of seeing that. Because, okay, so we were actually talking about this off of the camera the other day. So you said that you think Heather was annoying because the whole movie she just got them lost.
Yeah.
I feel like you misinterpreted it. Heather was never reading the map wrong. She was reading it right the entire time. Their environment was changing. The Blair Witch was changing their environment.
That's not how a forest works.
That's true.
She's a witch! Are you saying that everything about that movie
Whoa,
has to
whoa,
go...
whoa. Are you saying that because she's a woman, that makes her a witch?
No, I'm saying that it is a Blair Witch.
Was it part of the evidence of their existence a pile of rocks?
Yeah, that was my that was, you can't admit that was kind of stupid. When I rewatch it, I forgot
Guys,
that
there's
like
7 piles of rocks over here.
Oh my
Man,
gosh.
it's almost like there's squirrels in the woods.
But that is kind of creepy, a little bit. I mean, it wasn't there before.
If I go hiking and I see a pile of rocks, my first thought is, oh, people hike here.
But it wasn't there before. Like, they woke up and it was there.
No, they
walked into that section of the woods.
Okay, hold on. I'm thinking of a different scene.
I think you're thinking of the
I'm thinking of the sticks.
That's creepy.
That is creepy.
The rocks? No.
Okay, maybe the rock thing is something that I can't defend. Admittedly, that is kind of dumb.
What was the best scene in the movie? I think this is a nice way to start. We'll both say one thing, the best scene in the movie.
Okay, I'm going to say something different from you. I know I am. So, my favorite scene in the movie is, once again, the entire reason I like this movie is because of the psychological horror and emotional elements. So, I think the best scene in the movie is the scene where, I'm going to be honest, I can't remember his name, but the one guy is basically yelling at Heather and, like, like, it's the scene where he keeps saying, "That's your motivation," and, like, repeating all these terrible things that have happened to them, and basically just messing with her because he's angry and he needs a place to put it. Like, that's, in my opinion, the most well-acted scene in the movie. That's my favorite scene.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you say it's the best horror movie for its psychological horror.
I did not ever say it was the best horror movie. I just think it's a very good one. Okay, go on.
Okay, but have you ever watched The Ritual?
I am not, no.
Have you watched The Slender Man?
Now that's
I haven't watched
horror.
Slender Man.
Now that is psychological horror.
That's psychological torture.
Okay.
the best scene, obviously, everyone knows it. The best scene is when the dude kicks the map in the river.
Yeah!
Okay. So you say that scene you thought was funny.
Yes.
To me, you were talking about how Heather was annoying. To me, that was the most irritating thing that any of the characters did in the entire
Well, you
movie.
just explained earlier that the map was useless because the forest keeps changing.
Yeah,
so why does it
I
matter
know.
that he kicked it into the river?
But also, like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a dumb thing to do.
Like,
Like,
that wasn't helping them anyway, I thought.
it wasn't. But also, why
So
would
is
you
he
kick it
technically
in
the smartest character
What-
for eliminating a
What
distraction?
help is it giving you in
Oh,
that
it's
It's
movie?
because
distraction.
he's leading Heather into the woods further to kill her.
Actually, that was like a theory that somebody like me.
It's a good theory.
Yeah, no, that was
Okay.
a film theory thing.
Okay,
That the whole movie, that the two guys were just messing with her and leading her in the forest to kill her.
Okay, let's say, can we agree with the worst scene in the movie?
What is the worst
The ending.
scene? Okay.
That is the worst scene in the movie. You can't lie. That ending was really, really
I
a
admit,
downfall, like from the actual
ending,
movie.
it's not the scariest thing ever because like it is literally just a guy standing up against a wall. But also, do you know like what it means?
What do you mean? What it means that she got killed at the end, or
Yeah,
grabbed?
at the start of the movie during the interview section. One of the people who like they're interviewing about the Blair Witch tells a story about how when the Blair Witch like killed a bunch of people, it lined everybody else up against a wall and killed them one by one.
I do remember that, but you still have to agree that this ending would have been much cooler, where it was a guy with a bunch of sticks tied to a wall with a symbol, and he was dead. That was the original ending.
I didn't know that was even a thing. That's
If you pop it up on screen, that'd be kind of cool, but I don't know.
I'll pop it up on screen. Yeah, sure.
It was the original ending, and when I saw that, I was like, wow, they could have really.
It wasn't the original. They had multiple endings that they planned, and the one in the corner was chosen out of all.
The thing that I think is fascinating is that they filmed the like scene where the final scene before they filmed the interview scene. So originally they just had a guy standing up against a wall, and then eventually they were like, maybe we should explain this because this doesn't really make sense.
I mean, if they didn't explain it, I feel like
that would have been way worse to me.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like when you have like this whole thing, they can do all this cool stuff, and then it does like all this creepy stuff, and then the ending is a guy standing in a corner, and then she falls over. I feel like that's kind of like the lamest choice out of what they could have done.
Yeah.
The theory of it being the two guys bringing her into the woods is also just false because you see the witch during the movie.
What you do?
You catch a glimpse of it during like one frame. You can see it.
I know that like during like the scenes where like they're
With
like
the tent.
running away at night.
Yes, you
like
can see the witch during the tent being
I
like,
actually don't
rustled.
think I even knew that, huh? I think also one of like the coolest things about the Blair Witch Project is also just like the way it was made, because like all of the reactions from these three people are essentially completely genuine because they actually just sent them out into the forest with very vague instructions, and then at night they actually started rustling stuff and messing with stuff and chasing them. So a lot of what you're seeing is real, which is honestly kind of messed up from a working conditions standpoint.
I mean, it is kind of, that is. I do agree. Like that is like there is like the acting
Okay, it
of
was in
that.
it was in the remake that you see a glimpse of them.
Oh, okay. I've never seen
I don't
anything
want to
else
watch
apart.
the, yeah.
No, okay. I'm gonna be real here. I think there are there's a list of movies in the world that I don't think needed a sequel that somehow got multiple sequels. And I feel like I've never seen any of the sequels to this movie, but this one did not need a sequel.
Every time I think of like movies that don't need more movies, Toy Story and Shrek comes up. I mean,
Oh,
Toy
well,
Story.
okay.
Texas Chainsaw
Toy
Massacre
Story up
did
to like
not-
Toy Story 3.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's like I'm talking about 4 and 5.
Yeah, I can't
A lot of like
believe
the
they're making a
horror
5.
movies, I don't think they needed one. Like Saw
That's
didn't
true.
really need one.
The
Friday
biggest
the 13th, but they'd only needed up like part 3.
Yeah,
Yes.
they could have. Well, because 4 was going to be the last one because he died.
Yeah.
But
It's like
same with
Halloween as well.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they didn't need a sequel. I think the first one was all.
No, because
it was
Halloween
good.
was, they wanted it to be an anthology series. That's
And then
why
nobody liked
Season
it.
of the Witch is so different, but then nobody wanted to see that. So like,
I guess he survived. Yeah.
The biggest example that comes to my mind, this is not a horror movie, but, and this is actually kind of a hot take I have, I think Jurassic Park should have stopped at the first movie. I don't think you needed any other movies.
2 was
I
good.
think 3 was pretty good. I think after 3, it just
3's alright.
We didn't
I don't
need any
hate
of the
3 as
Jurassic
much as
World
others.
movies.
Jurassic
Because
World was bad.
Jurassic World itself is just a copy and paste of the first movie with different dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But
we're
it's
getting
still-
off topic, but yeah, I don't understand how they made a sequel to the Blair Witch Project.
Well, then
I
they-
probably will never watch the sequels.
I mean, I'm definitely not watching this.
Yeah, no, I know.
But I mean, I'm trying to think of other stuff about the movie. I mean, the movie is short. I mean,
Yeah.
there is one positive I always think about it, and that's the marketing was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, because the whole movie, like, they took advantage of the fact that the internet was a newish thing at the time, so they basically made a bunch of people think that the movie was a real found footage movie, like they actually found this footage.
And honestly, one good thing that came out of it is it pioneered the found footage
Yeah.
genre.
But also, I feel like people, like when you mentioned that the Blair Witch is not a good movie, they always bring up that. Just because they had good marketing doesn't mean the movie is good.
I don't think that just because they had good marketing that makes the movie good. I just genuinely think that, like, I truly believe that because of, like, how real it feels, that, like, it's just a bunch of people who got lost in the forest and started going crazy, and, like, that makes it, like, scary to me, just not scary in the typical way you would think of it. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of horror movies that do a good job of like what you're saying, where the movie like is not like jump scares upon jump scares,
Yeah.
but the situation itself is creepy. The one movie that I said you should have watched, but you never did, was The Purge, because The Purge I think does a good job.
Okay,
of that.
eventually I will watch The Purge. Maybe this year for Halloween I'll do a part 2 where I do more horror movies. I don't know, that might take a while, but
I think the other thing is like when we talk about like psychological stuff and less jump scares related things, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre does enter that frame.
that is true, yeah.
It is mostly the mental aspect of the people that get caught in the middle of this whole event that
The
happens.
same with The Hills Have Eyes.
The Hills Have Eyes is another one that
See,
fits that. And I
okay.
feel like those ones, that's why I like
You did
those.
not
Or
like the Texas
the
Chainsaw.
Little-
I will admit I was a little bit mean to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in my video.
I understand why you did not
Yeah.
like the characters.
I
Well,
didn't
come on,
like
Franklin.
care for the
How do you
characters.
not like Frank? That's the only
Was
character
that the guy in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
He was fine. He was alright.
He was-
I thought he was
I
okay.
think he was the only character I actually cared about, and it was like he was the only one I really
Like,
liked.
okay, I said that movie I didn't like that much, but I would say I think that one's, like, at the very least okay. The only movie in that video that I really didn't like was Friday the 13th.
I
Which
understand.
one did you
He
watch?
watched
The
the
first
first
one.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's-
don't like that movie.
I don't care for
I think
it
the
too much,
only
honestly.
issue
The second one
I
was
really
so good.
had with the movie was, with the video you made was the Blair Witch Project, and you didn't watch the original It. You watched the new
Why'd
one.
you not watch
Yeah.
the original
I
one?
really
I was
wish you
confused
watched
about
the
that.
original.
The
one.
only reason for that was because I had heard that the 2017 one was better.
People
It's
do
more
say
horror oriented,
Yeah,
but
it
the
does-
thing with it is the main villain is a clown. They got rid of most of the horror in the new one, or most of the comedy in the new one.
That's
yeah,
true.
The old one had some.
Well, okay, my biggest problem with It 2017 that I mentioned in that video is I don't think Pennywise was a good villain in that movie, because his whole goal throughout the movie is just kill a kid. Kill one single kid. And he has 7 kids, and he doesn't kill a single one of them.
So I think the issue with that is he's intelligent, but
Yeah.
he's an animal, essentially. His whole goal is he wants to feed to continue his existence, and then he hibernates.
To be fair, there's multiple different things Stephen King made which were related to they feed on a certain emotion, and Pennywise was the one that feeds on fear. So the reason he never killed anyone for like 90% of the time is because he feeds off fear and needs them to be afraid.
Think of it
Okay, that's
like,
kind of interesting.
kind of like Dead by Daylight, how the entity balances everything. It's because it's feeding off emotion. not off the
Okay,
sacrifice.
my least favorite part of it, 2017 is there's one scene in that movie towards the end where he literally has one of the kids on the ground. I don't remember which one.
Yeah, I think I
and
know what
he's
you're talking
about
about,
to eat his head, and then suddenly the other kids come in, and he's just like, oh,
Stop.
okay, I
Yes.
better run away now. Like,
Yeah.
just finish that would make the other kids more scared.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like, you are right. Like, some of the stuff, like, I don't really, it's not like a
Yeah.
one I would, if I said, like, I like horror movies, it would not be really mentioned that much, because I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
Good horror. I think we need to advocate Stephen King going on cocaine again. Maximum Overdrive.
Oh, speaking of Stephen King, Carrie.
Oh, Carrie's a good movie. I
Carrie
like
is a
Carrie.
good movie.
I just think he put it way above other movies that,
Yeah.
I feel like the
I
movies
mean,
he put it above.
It's a very simple like
Saw was such a good
I
concept.
didn't put Saul that high on my
Yeah,
list.
that's fair.
I think with Saul, that's a movie where I really like the concept. I liked the movie. I just didn't love the movie as much as I think the concept
people
is
like
good.
it as much as they do is they want a gore fest, and that's what Saw ends
Yeah.
up being in later
Well,
movies.
if you want Gorefest, they watch Terrifier.
Yeah.
I just think
I've never seen
the
Terrifier, I would just feel like, it's not really scary.
I don't
It's
wanna
just
watch
kind of
it's a
like,
good horror movie.
I
but
watched
it's
the
not
first
it's just
one.
very gory.
I was talking to my
not
friend
that one.
my friend who I call Movie Friend on my channel, who I've had there before, and he said to me, Terrifier is what people think Saw is,
Yeah.
where the entire appeal is just the gore.
Saw
like,
1
yeah.
has not much gore on
There
it.
is
so,
Saw
like,
1
Yeah.
is psychological, almost. It's a thriller more than a horror
Yeah.
movie, too.
And
Then,
then
like-
there's also the aspect of Saw that I think is great, is that it was made by a bunch of college students pretty much
Yeah, that's-
originally. And the original one they made, the reverse bear trap, was real and did work.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
That's insane. I didn't even know that.
That's another concept with Saw that I think is cool, is that they want to make sure the traps are possible. They are actual working machines that can be made.
It's kind of terrifying, honestly.
Someone could just make a reverse bear trap and start strapping that
Wow.
on people.
That's
movie.
Wow.
Like movie fan over here, he might be doing that next.
I wasn't
Hold on,
planning
like,
on it.
Like when he gets on the TV, he'll be like, "What's up, movie fans? Today we got these 2 kidnapped people because they did drugs. So we're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
put 2
that's-
reverse bear traps on
That's
them."
one thing that I think is weird with Saw is he's I'm gonna kidnap some criminals and also this one random girl who has a drug addiction. And then when she doesn't get over her addiction, I'm gonna put her back in another trap.
But the one thing, going back to Blair Witch, that I really appreciate with the movie, kind of going off Saw and that, is it gave people who don't have a budget or the materials to
Yeah.
make a proper movie the inspiration to make movies.
Yeah.
You have to know what you're doing for found footage. People kind of look at it and think, "Oh, it's the easy way out," but you still.
Our found footage movie.
Yeah, you have to
that one was great.
People have to react realistically. You can't be
Yeah.
shaking the camera around constantly because that's not what they're going to do. They're there to get shots. They're going to.
I'm trying to think of the. Oh yeah, there was this found footage movie I watched. It was so bad. It was called Gags the Clown. It was.
Oh
heard of
my
that.
god, no!
I've never heard of that before.
I was just browsing and I saw it. I'm like, what's a Gags the? It's this weird movie about this clown that's terrorizing people, but they made it a found footage type movie, which I feel like that kind of movie didn't need to be found footage. If it's just about a clown killing people.
Not good, but a decent found footage horror movie is Troll Hunter or whatever it is.
Troll Hunt. I've never heard of.
Just Trolls. I
I
forgot
don't,
what it is.
I don't know which
Trolls
one you're
like the
talking about.
movie?
I've never heard of it.
Trolls the
Yeah, the new Trolls movie.
That's a pretty scary.
Trolls is a scary movie. I do not like that movie.
They go to Norway to record something, and it turns out there's oh no, my phone's in my pocket. There's trolls there, and this guy's like trying to hunt them, and they get wrapped up in it. But it does the found footage stuff really
I mean,
well.
I had to pretty much teach myself all the found footage ideas because that's what I'm planning for a movie.
Oh, that's cool.
That was the whole thing, and I decided to make it like 10 times easier when it comes to like instead of walking around with a shaky camera. I made the main characters police officers for putting body cams on.
That's smart.
Well, Gags the Clown, like the Gags the Clown movie had that aspect to it, but also just the movie itself was really stupid. It was really just a clown that kills people. And half the found footage was this really far-right podcaster. That was it. It was so funny. Like, it was who's this guy? It was just some really far-right podcaster who then was just like, I want to hunt this clown because I was in the military. And then you find out later in the film that he never shot anyone in the military, and he was just I forget what he was. I think he was like
the trailer
something really basic. Like he was a mechanic. Yeah, the whole time he was like bragging about like, oh, I shot many people in the military, but he was just a mechanic.
Huh, that is fascinating.
You know what? That's one movie you should have watched for the horror movie video. You should have watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Okay, wait. That, if I ever made
That's
part 2, I would probably have that because my dad has actually said that's one of his favorites.
Also, you gotta put Evil Dead Army of Darkness on there.
Oh, yeah, no, that's I have a lot of, like, the sequels to these horror movies that I'm planning on watching. Like, that's one of them.
Friday the 13th Part 2 does so
I
much
have
better
to watch
than
It Chapter 2, because It 2017
because you did watch the first
yeah.
one, so you're going to have to.
You gotta watch the second one and the old one.
Oh, you gotta watch
You didn't
the
jump
old
on
one?
the new one to the older one.
Well, the
for part
old
2.
one is just one long movie.
Yeah, but there is a clear
that would be
distinction
such a
where part
weird-
2 starts.
That would be such a weird
It's still
experience.
just banned two movies in one.
But yeah,
It
so
ended up being like a 6 hour
Hey, you
movie.
gotta
Like,
watch Blair Witch.
going back to
Blair
I'm
Witch?
not doing that. Going back to like Blair Witch, I think you were like saying that it has to like make sense that like they're holding the camera, and in my
that was
opinion,
an issue.
it did. To me, it did.
Well,
like,
the thing is, like, the one thing I hated about it is, like, the reason I didn't like Heather is because she would, while they are, like, these guys are, like, freaking out and grieving, she grabs her camera and just starts recording them. Like, imagine, like, were sitting there, like, on the ground, like, freaking out because something's attacking us, and I pull out my camera and I just film you.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I keep crying for my.
They
keep crying for my
known
documentary.
each other at least enough where that wouldn't be something where it's like I wouldn't go up to somebody who I barely know who's in like a class of mine and be like, yeah, keep crying. I'm gonna record this. It's gonna be great footage.
Like, a good friend of mine. I still wouldn't do that if he was like on the ground grieving about something, like freaking out. And I'm like, yeah, keep crying, buddy.
The thing that I will say is that I don't think the movie ever necessarily says that that's the right thing to do, because it's very clear that it's kind of not.
But like, I feel like no. Why would you like if you're in a situation where like something's attacking you? I wouldn't even bother recording. Like I would record myself for evidence, like of like showing like stuff happening, but not people grieving. Like, I feel like that would be unnecessary.
I agree, but also counterpoint. Hear me out. If you didn't show them grieving, there's no movie.
Yeah, but it just makes the movie then a little less realistic.
I understand what you said.
That's why I think it's not as scary, because it's like, oh, she's just recording because it's a movie, not because this is
I understand what you're saying.
I'm trying to think of people
I feel like that wasn't as big of a problem to me, but I understand why that is a problem.
No, it wasn't a huge thing. It was just another thing that...
Yeah.
But like I do get like for the horror movie aspect, it definitely needed to be there. But for people saying how realistic it is, that's what I was looking at more of right now.
I mainly just that I think that like the acting is very realistic, which
well,
like
it kind of is
well,
because
to be fair,
they were just not told.
out in the woods the entire time filming. They were just told where to go next.
Okay.
Every single day.
Yeah, this is something that really annoys me about the like not this movie. But I hate this so much. Did you know that the actress who plays Heather won a Razzie for the Blair Witch Project?
Yeah.
That's insane to me. Why? Like,
Didn't
what
she change her
gave
name?
her...
Yeah, she wanted to be, like, away from
the
Blair
because she couldn't escape the role.
Yeah, like, what? But, like, what...
I don't think it was that, like, bad.
Yeah.
It was...
I thought she was an amazing performance in that
90%
movie.
of the time, it was just realistic. I think the only thing is, like I said, the other probably 10% is said sections where she's just recording the two guys who are absolutely like disheveled from being lost, and she's just recording them, and they're like, "Can you stop recording this, please?"
That is a large part of the movie. Yes, that would probably be like 80% of this movie's runtime is just people arguing. That is 100% true. But yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like overall the Blair Witch was not successful at one being like as realistic as people say and as scary as people said.
Yeah, I understand. I feel like
see, we're coming to
talking
understanding
about it, like I understand where you're coming from. I just think that for me, the psychological horror aspects did really work for me, which is what made it like such an interesting movie to me. Like, yeah.
I feel like you have to look at other more psychological stuff, like...
Yeah, like, I'm very new to horror movies at this point. Like, that entire video was literally, hey, I've never watched that many horror movies before. How about I just watch all of the big ones?
I do like, I mean, Scream being up there made sense, though.
Yeah, no, Scream.
Alien,
I
of course.
Yeah.
You didn't like Predator as much, which I was surprised, because you liked Alien, but you didn't really...
Like, it was very hard to like... rank all of those movies because I truly did like most of them. Like, I liked Predator a lot. I just like wasn't as into it as other ones.
You really like honestly the reason like the whole thing started, like we said, is Blair Witch. We felt like was way too high. I
understand.
If it was a couple ranks down, I don't even think this would have even started.
No, it's just the fact that when I saw it above like all the movies it was just like, okay.
I did put it extremely high, but...
You're putting it down now?
I still stand by it.
I understand if you stand by liking it, but it's just like there's so many others that I think are better.
I did put it above a lot, because the only two that I put above it were Scream and Alien.
Yeah. Which I feel like there was so many
those two,
movies.
I understand why you have them at the top. If you were to say those were number 1 and number 2, that's not an issue. Those are understandably...
It's just that Blair Witch is number 3.
Yes, that is our biggest issue.
But yeah, I still stand by, because I think that was one of the most interesting movies that I watched for that list.
And I will say again, this is still all a joke. And
yeah, no, of course.
We're saying it again just because... Why not? Because, I mean, it was still funny, though, seeing the comments of people either genuinely thinking, like, we're taking this too far, or hating on you.
Yeah, legit. No, I thought that was really funny.
And I was just thinking, I was like, do people actually think we're serious?
That was so wild that, like, during the one video where you were ranking all the movie fan haters, people just, I guess, didn't watch the video where you said that it's funny and
I know.
serious. Because I see, like, 3 comments where they're like, man, I hated when I got hate on my videos.
I saw that.
Bro, it's not real.
I think it's very funny how, like, obviously it didn't end up, like, spreading that wide. Like,
no. But
I think it's funny that it did, like, spread a little bit because, like, my hater video got a lot of views. The 16.0 video got more views than I have ever gotten on my channel before, which I thought was hilarious.
The thing was, like, it was mainly just for...
Yeah, no.
Like, just us, but then random people just got involved.
Yeah, no, like
which was kind of funny.
Yeah, like I said, at this point, I basically know who most of the accounts are. Like, I don't know... What I mean by that is I know which people are accounts, I just don't necessarily know, like, which person goes with which account. But yeah, they're all my friends, like, I know them all. So, yeah, from the beginning, this has all just been a joke.
Except the person you met today.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so your most popular video has 100 views less than the 60
I know.
video. Like, I wanted to just see exactly the amount.
No, but people on that video, the 60.0 video were like, oh, you're calling him all these mean things, that's not cool, and like, you're taking it too far.
Okay, but I did think that most of the 16.0 comment section was funny because it was people saying, all of this is true, he's a terrible person.
Yeah, there was random people who were like, oh my gosh, this guy's awful.
And then there was a guy, shout out to this guy, I don't know if he still watches, his name was like, Wipeout.
Yeah, Wipeout mentality. I just went on your.
He made a video
I went
about
on
it.
addressing the hate video, and he actually made a new comment about 4 days ago.
Oh wait, he did. Oh.
Let me just read off. Movie fan, it's me again. Listen, I've done the research. The movie fan hater isn't your friend undercover. It's something else entirely. Something bigger than us. Listen, I'm making a documentary exposing them and their series of corruption and their part in causing World War II. The time has come, movie fan hater, and especially you, movie fan lover, you sick man.
Movie fan lover?
Okay, I'm excited for that, whatever that is. What Wipeout mentality? Shout out to you. I thought that your video where you were analyzing the all of the hater comments was very funny.
I mean, this whole thing. Sadly, the end is happening, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
it was fun while it lasted.
I mean, I still want you to like comment. I think the comments are funny.
I'll probably still comment, but
100%.
The videos are done.
I'm usually one of the first people commenting.
I mean, it's funny though, because like it all just started because I was like, how dare you put it at 3? And I still think the whole situation where I pinned it all on one person and then you just kind of went along with it.
Yeah, no, I thought it was Yuzi the entire time when in reality it was him, which I think is so funny.
Dude, I love rewatching the part though where you see the board game. That's my favorite reaction.
You made a board game.
Dude, that was my favorite part of the whole. That's like the best part.
Yeah. So
most of that video was just him explaining the game.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, honestly, the video I wanted it to be like less than 10 minutes, and then I made that video like I said the first time I ever made a video, and then I was like, because originally I was gonna reveal myself on the last day of school.
Oh yeah.
That was gonna be the original.
But then we made the deal instead.
And then I decided I was like, there's so much that happened. I can't just stop it. So then I just let it go on for longer.
Yeah.
And then I just waited for you to do the deal, which I guess you did.
So yeah, I guess we should probably wrap this up now. Overall, we are all in agreement that the Blair Witch Project is an amazing movie.
Yeah, well,
man.
Okay. Well, how about this? We both agree that your opinion is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, I guess that's where we're ending it. See ya, movie fans.